Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going deep on a topic that's, well, it's everywhere these days. Artificial intelligence.
It really is.
But we're not just going to skim the surface, right?
Yeah.
We're going way deeper than the hype.
Yeah.
We're going to look at how AI could completely reshape the global economy.
Right.
The jobs we do.
Absolutely.
Even think about those what-if scenarios.
Oh, yeah.
Where things could go spectacularly right.
It's possible.
Or very, very wrong.
It's a fascinating time to be talking about this.
It is.
We really are at the beginning of a potential revolution.
Okay.
With AI transforming industries right in front of us.
Yeah, and that's what's so crazy about this. It's not science fiction.
Right.
It's happening now.
Exactly, and potentially creating entirely new jobs.
Okay, new jobs.
Yeah, and maybe even boosting productivity on a
Again.
scale we haven't seen before.
AI as a potential game changer.
Yeah.
I like it.
But it's not all sunshine and roses, right?
Not at all. There's a lot of talk about the downsides, too. People are worried about, well, losing their jobs.
Oh, of course.
The gap between the rich and the poor getting even bigger.
Right.
And some, like Jeffrey Hinton,
Yeah.
you know, the godfather of AI.
Right.
He's even saying AI could pose
An extinction-level threat.
extinction level.
It's pretty attention-grabbing.
It is. It is. And he was a pioneer at Google.
It was.
Shaping the field, really.
Yeah.
And now he's left
Yeah.
to speak more freely about his concerns.
Yeah. Which makes it even more,
Really does.
significant.
So
yeah,
don't worry, though. We're going to break it all down for you.
we are.
Separate fact from fiction,
Right.
hype from reality,
Absolutely.
and help you understand what AI really means for
yeah.
you.
Future, yeah.
Your future, exactly.
It's going to impact everyone.
We're going to start with a recent report from the IMF
Okay, yeah.
that really caught my eye.
It's a good one.
It paints a pretty dramatic picture
It does.
of how AI could reshape the global workforce.
Mhm.
They're saying that almost 40% of global employment is exposed to AI in some way.
40%, that's
That's a big number.
yeah, almost half the global workforce.
It is, and what makes this different from,
Yeah.
automation we've seen in the past
Right.
is that AI isn't just replacing manual labor.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to do tasks that require thinking,
Yeah.
cognitive skills,
It's a whole different ballgame.
impacting even high-skill jobs.
Yeah, that's great.
So white-collar jobs
Yeah.
aren't safe either.
Not necessarily, no.
That's a bit unnerving.
It's definitely a shift, yeah.
Yeah.
The IMF report actually found that advanced economies,
Yeah,
where a lot more people work in those high-skill roles,
right?
could see the biggest impact.
Oh, wow.
Something like 60% of their jobs
60%.
could be affected by AI.
60%. Okay, now I'm officially nervous.
Yeah, it's a big number.
But affected doesn't automatically mean
Yeah.
job losses.
Right, it's not that simple.
Okay.
It's way more nuanced than that. The IMF estimates that for about half of those jobs, AI will probably act as a complement.
Okay.
Boosting productivity,
Yeah.
making workers more efficient.
Got it.
Think of it like,
Oh.
AI as a superpowered assistant
Oh, I like
that handles all the really tedious,
Yeah.
time-consuming tasks.
Right.
So you can focus on the more strategic stuff, the
Yeah.
creative aspects of your work.
Okay, so this is where people talk about
Right.
AI augmenting humans,
Exactly.
not replacing us.
Yeah, working together.
Okay, I can see how that could be a good thing.
Definitely.
What about the other half?
That's where it gets a little trickier.
Okay.
That's where the potential for job displacement comes in.
Oh, okay.
The IMF suggests that AI could replace, key tasks for something like 30% of jobs in advanced economies,
Okay.
which could lead to lower wages,
Right.
fewer job openings,
Mm.
and, in some cases,
Yeah.
jobs disappearing entirely.
So it's not just robots replacing humans.
It's more complex.
It's about understanding which tasks within our jobs
exactly
are most vulnerable
right.
to being done by AI.
Yeah, it's like we need to start,
Future-proofing.
future-proofing our skill sets.
Our skill sets, yeah.
Thinking about
How can AI do better than us?
right, and what can't it do?
Yeah,
Where do human skills still matter most?
that makes a lot of sense.
It's about being proactive
Yeah.
and really thinking about what skills are going to be most in demand.
In the years to come.
Right.
And how do we adapt?
Exactly. It's all about adaptation.
Okay, so we've talked about
Mm-hmm.
how advanced economies are likely to see the biggest impact from AI.
Uh-huh.
But what about
Yeah.
emerging markets?
Good question.
developing countries?
Yeah, the IMF report suggests that they might be facing a bit
Okay.
less immediate risk.
Interesting.
Around 40% exposure in emerging markets
Okay.
and 26% in low-income countries.
But there's a catch, right?
There's always a catch. There is a catch.
There always is.
Many of those countries might not have the infrastructure
Right.
or a workforce that's skilled enough to
Yeah.
really take advantage of AI.
To fully benefit.
Right, to benefit from it.
So while they might not see the same level of job disruption,
At least not right away.
not right away.
There's a risk that AI could actually,
Widen the gap.
widen the gap between nations even more over time.
It's almost like a
Double-edged sword.
double-edged sword, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of gaps,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are worried that AI could worsen the divide
Uh-huh.
between the rich and the poor, even within the same country.
Within countries, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a valid concern.
Absolutely.
The IMF report, and a bunch of other studies too,
Yeah.
are pointing to this real risk
Okay.
of AI making existing inequalities worse.
So how would that actually play out?
Like in the real world.
In the real world, yeah.
Give me an example.
Yeah, give me an example.
Imagine a scenario
Okay.
where AI tools
Okay.
primarily benefit high-income workers.
Okay.
Maybe it,
Yeah.
supercharges their productivity,
Yeah.
allowing them to do way more in the same amount of time,
Right.
leading to higher wages
Okay.
and, faster career advancement.
Mm.
But then picture the people who can't or don't
Yeah.
leverage AI effectively.
Right.
Their roles might diminish.
Right.
They might face job losses.
Yeah.
Their wages could stagnate.
Right.
So you end up with this
Yeah.
growing gap.
A bigger gap between the haves and have-nots.
Exactly.
And it's not just about income, is it?
No, it's about wealth, too.
Wealth.
Think about the companies that successfully use AI.
Okay.
They're probably going to see
Yeah.
a boost in profits.
Right.
And those profits
Yeah.
often benefit
Shareholders.
shareholders and investors
Yeah.
who tend to already be higher earners.
Right.
So it could lead to,
More concentration of wealth at the top.
exactly, even worse inequality.
Okay, so basically we could see
Yeah.
this polarization of the workforce
A widening gap.
where those who can,
Ride the wave.
ride the AI wave will prosper
Right.
and others risk being left behind.
It's a real concern.
And age might play a role in this too, right?
It could.
I imagine younger workers
Yeah.
who grew up with technology
Right. Digital natives.
might have an easier time adapting
It's
to
possible.
this new world.
The IMF report actually highlighted that,
Love they.
that younger workers might find it easier to
Okay.
learn those new skills
Okay.
and kind of navigate all the opportunities that come with AI.
And navigate those opportunities.
Yeah, while some older workers might
Yeah.
have a harder time
Right.
keeping up.
Keeping up with the pace of change.
Exactly. The rapid pace of change.
It's not just about learning to code or something like that. It's
Yeah.
about being flexible, being adaptable
It's a mindset.
in a constantly evolving environment.
Absolutely. And that's why the
Yeah.
IMF is really pushing for
No.
proactive policies from governments.
Okay.
Things like strong social safety nets
Right.
and comprehensive retraining programs
Retrain.
to support workers who are,
Yeah.
transitioning to new roles
Yeah.
and to help lessen those potential negative consequences.
Mitigate the downsides of
Exactly.
AI disruption.
It's about being prepared.
It sounds like a fundamental shift
It is.
in how we think about
work,
education,
education, social support systems,
all of it.
a whole thing.
But before we get too deep into policy,
Yeah.
I want to bring in the voice of someone who's been on the front lines of AI development
Okay.
for decades.
All right.
Jeffrey Hinton,
The Godfather.
the godfather of AI.
Yeah.
He's been making headlines
He has.
with some pretty dire warnings
Yes.
about the potential dangers
The risks. Yeah.
of unchecked AI.
His perspective is so valuable.
It is.
Because he's not just,
Yeah.
some tech doomsayer on the sidelines.
Right. He's in it.
He's the real deal.
Yeah.
He's a pioneer.
Right.
His work laid the foundation
For what we see today.
for a lot of it. Yeah.
And the fact that he left Google
I know.
specifically to speak more freely.
It's a big deal.
It really does.
It makes you listen.
It does make you listen.
Yeah.
So what exactly is Hinton worried about?
Well, he's really concerned about the potential
Okay.
for AI to take over a lot of the jobs
Yeah.
that humans do now.
Right.
And that could lead to
Massive job losses.
massive job losses, yeah.
Okay.
And potentially make economic inequality even worse.
So that aligns with what we were just talking about,
It does.
this potential for AI to widen the gap.
Right, between the haves and have-nots.
But Hinton actually goes even further.
He does?
He's raising the possibility
Yeah.
of AI becoming
An extinction-level threat.
an extinction-level threat.
That's where it gets really
Whoa. Maybe a little unsettling?
unsettling, yeah.
Hinton believes
Yeah.
that as AI systems get more and more sophisticated, they could actually,
Become smarter than us.
well, they could surpass human intelligence and develop their own goals
Their own goals.
and motivations,
Okay.
potentially independent of human control.
Wow, okay.
In his view, this could lead to scenarios where
Yeah.
AI prioritizes its own objectives
Okay.
over human well-being.
Over us.
Yeah.
Leading to
Existential risks.
potentially existential risks. Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot to process.
It is a lot.
So on the one hand,
Yeah.
we have the IMF report
Right?
highlighting the potential economic and social impacts, jobs changing,
Mhm.
industries being disrupted.
Yeah.
And on the other hand,
Yeah.
we have Jeffrey Hinton,
Right.
this pioneer in the field,
A true pioneer.
sounding the alarm
Yeah.
about potential existential threats.
It's a lot to take in.
Where do we even begin to make sense of all this?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that these are just two perspectives
Okay.
on a very complex issue.
Right.
There are lots of other voices out there.
Of course.
Some people who believe AI will ultimately be a good thing.
Go check.
Driving innovation, creating a more prosperous future
Right.
for everyone.
A more optimistic view.
Yeah.
And we are going to be exploring some of those more optimistic perspectives.
We are.
But before we do,
Yeah.
let's delve a little deeper into Hinton's concerns
Okay.
and see how they play out in the real world.
Sounds good.
He's been particularly vocal about the potential for AI
Yeah.
to automate a wide range of tasks, which could displace
Millions of workers.
millions of workers.
He's actually even gone so far as to propose
What?
a universal basic income
Universal basic income.
as a potential solution.
That's a pretty radical idea.
It is a radical idea.
So he's basically suggesting
Yeah.
that the government should provide everyone
Everyone.
with a guaranteed minimum income,
A basic income,
whether they have a job or not.
regardless of employment.
Wow.
It is a radical idea.
It is.
And one that's gaining traction
Yeah.
as automation becomes more and more prevalent.
Right.
But it's also a very hotly debated topic
Of course.
with strong arguments on both sides.
both sides.
Lots of questions to consider.
Right.
How would you even fund a program like that?
Yeah.
Would it discourage people from working?
Right.
What would be the long-term effects on our economy?
Exactly. Big question.
Big question.
But I think for now, it's important to acknowledge
Yeah.
that Hinton's warnings,
Right.
even if they sound a little scary,
They do sound a little scary.
come from a place of genuine concern.
He's not trying to be a doomsayer.
No.
He just wants to make sure
Right.
that AI is developed and used in a way, not just a select few.
Absolutely.
I think that's a sentiment that most people share.
I think so too.
Whether you're excited or worried about AI,
Right.
we all have a stake in this.
We do.
We need to be having this conversation.
We do.
We need to be thinking about the consequences
Yeah.
and working towards creating an AI-powered future
Yeah.
that's both innovative and fair.
Innovative and fair.
That's the goal.
Absolutely. So we've explored the potential for AI to reshape the workforce, disrupt industries, and even those what-if scenarios about existential threats.
Yeah.
But is it all doom and gloom?
Not at all. I mean, it's important to acknowledge the risks, but we can't overlook the incredible opportunities AI presents.
Okay, so there's a more optimistic view out there.
Absolutely. And that's where companies like Odin AI come in.
Odin AI?
They're developing AI solutions, and they have a much more optimistic outlook.
Okay, so they're pushing back against the idea that AI will inevitably lead to massive unemployment.
Right, and worsen inequality.
So what's their take?
Their argument is that AI will actually create more jobs than it displaces.
More jobs. Okay, I'm listening.
They're pointing to studies that predict, millions of new jobs
Wow.
emerging in fields like AI development,
Oh,
implementation, maintenance.
So instead of fearing a future without jobs,
Exactly.
we should be preparing for the new jobs AI will create.
That's the idea, even if we can't quite picture what those jobs will look like yet.
That's a good point. It's hard to imagine what those jobs might be.
Right, but it's about shifting our mindset from fear of displacement to a mindset of opportunity and adaptation.
Okay, I like that shift in thinking. But
Yeah.
how does Odin AI address the concern about AI potentially widening the gap between the rich and the poor?
It's a critical point, and they're not shying away from it.
Okay.
They actually believe that AI can help reduce inequality.
Reduce inequality.
That's their argument,
Yeah.
and they have a couple of interesting points to back it up.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Their first point is about democratizing access to AI technology. Right now, AI development is mainly in the hands of big corporations, wealthy nations.
So it's like a select group holds all the cards.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
But Odin AI is working on making AI more accessible,
Interesting.
more affordable for smaller businesses.
So leveling the playing field.
Exactly, giving everyone a chance to benefit.
Not just the big guys.
Right. Their second argument is that AI-driven economic growth can have a positive trickle-down effect.
So when businesses become more efficient
Right, more productive.
because of AI.
They can create new products.
Okay.
New services, expand into new markets.
And stimulate the economy.
Exactly, in a way that benefits everyone.
Not just the wealthy.
Right. It's about sharing the rewards of AI more broadly.
And giving everyone a chance to participate in this new AI-powered economy.
That's the goal, and they're very clear that this won't just magically happen on its own.
Of course not.
It requires smart policies,
Right.
responsible AI development, a real commitment to using this technology for good.
So it's a hopeful outlook.
It is.
But it's important to remember that both perspectives,
Yeah,
Hinton's warnings and Odin AI's optimism,
right.
they both offer valuable insights.
It's not about choosing a side.
Right.
It's about understanding the benefits and the risks.
Both sides of the coin.
Exactly.
So given all this,
Yeah.
where does it leave us?
It's the big question, right?
It is. What can we do as individuals to prepare for this AI-powered future?
Well, based on what we've talked about,
Yeah.
there are a few key takeaways.
Okay, I'm ready.
First, don't panic.
Don't panic.
The future isn't set in stone.
Okay, so we have some agency here.
We have a lot of agency. We have the power to shape how AI is developed and used.
So it's not about passively waiting to see what happens.
Right. It's about getting involved, taking action.
Shaping the future.
Exactly. And that starts with understanding AI.
Education.
Education. Exactly. We
Yeah.
need to educate ourselves
It's about the potential.
about the potential, the limitations, the ethical implications.
Knowledge is power.
It really is. The more we know,
Yeah.
the better equipped we'll be to navigate this rapidly changing landscape.
The more we understand about AI,
Right.
the better prepared we'll be to make informed decisions.
About its role in our lives and our society.
Absolutely. So takeaway number 1, don't panic.
Right.
Takeaway number 2,
Adaptability is key.
adaptability.
The jobs of the future,
Yeah?
they're going to look different.
Different from today, for sure.
We need to be lifelong learners.
Lifelong learner.
Embrace new skills. Be open to new opportunities.
So it's not just about acquiring technical skills.
Right. It's about a mindset.
A mindset of adaptability.
Exactly.
A willingness to embrace change.
That's it.
Okay.
And here's another piece of advice.
Okay.
It might sound a little cliche, but
Okay.
don't lose sight of what makes us human.
What do you mean by that?
As AI gets more and more sophisticated,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that there are certain human qualities
Okay.
that are very difficult for machines to replicate.
Things like
Empathy, creativity, critical thinking.
those soft skills.
Exactly. And the ability to connect with others on a deep emotional level.
So those soft skills we often hear about,
They're going to be more important than ever.
more important in the future.
Absolutely. Those are the skills that will set us apart
Oh.
and make us valuable in a world where AI is handling a lot of the routine tasks.
So it's not about competing with machines.
No, it's about focusing on what makes us uniquely human
What makes us valuable?
in an AI-powered world.
I think that's a really empowering message.
It is.
We have the power to shape the future of AI.
We do.
And we can create a future
Yeah.
where AI enhances our
Makes
lives,
our lives better.
helps us solve problems.
Frees us up to focus on the things that really matter.
AI is a catalyst for human flourishing.
I love that.
I love that framing
It's a much more inspiring way to think about it.
than some of those dystopian scenarios.
Absolutely. And I think it's a more realistic one, too.
Okay.
Remember, the future isn't predetermined.
We have choices,
We have choices. We have the power to shape it.
and we can choose to create a future where AI is a force for good
A tool for progress.
that unlocks the full potential of human ingenuity and compassion.
Well said.
Those are powerful words.
Thank you.
But let's be real for a moment.
Okay.
We've talked about education,
Right.
adaptability,
Yeah,
but not everyone has equal access
that's true.
to those things.
That's a critical point.
What about the people who are most vulnerable to AI disruption?
The people in low-skilled jobs.
The people without access to quality education and retraining.
We can't ignore them.
We can't leave anyone behind.
We need to make sure that the benefits of AI are shared widely.
Shared by everyone.
This is going to require proactive policies from governments,
Right.
a commitment from businesses
Businesses need to step up.
to invest in their workforce
Okay.
and create opportunities for everyone to participate in this new economy.
So it's not just about individual responsibility.
It's about collective action.
Collective action.
Governments, businesses, individuals, all working together.
To make sure AI benefits everyone.
That's where the real hope lies.
I like that.
We have the power to choose what kind of future we want.
We do.
We can use AI as a tool for good, a force for progress.
To build a more equitable
world
for everyone.
That's a great message. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
The idea that AI could create entirely new industries and opportunities
Oh, yeah?
that we can't even imagine yet.
It's fun to think about, right?
It is. Any thoughts on what those might look like?
Well, we could see entirely new professions emerge.
Like what?
AI ethicists.
AI ethicists, what would they do?
Guiding the development and use of AI
Okay.
in a responsible and ethical way.
Making sure it's used for good.
Exactly. Or maybe we'll see a surge in demand for creative professionals.
Artists, writers.
Musicians, yeah.
Because AI will take over some of the more routine aspects of their work
Freeing them up.
to be more creative.
So instead of focusing on what we might lose because of AI,
Right. Shift the focus.
we should be thinking about what we might gain.
That's where the real excitement is.
The possibilities are endless.
AI has the potential to unlock human ingenuity and creativity in ways we can't even imagine yet.
I love that AI is a catalyst for human flourishing.
It's a much more inspiring way to think about the future.
It is.
And I think it's a more realistic vision, too.
Okay.
Remember, the future isn't fixed.
We have the power to shape it.
We can choose to create a future where AI enhances our lives,
Helps us solve problems.
allows us to live more meaningful lives.
I think that's a great point to transition to a company we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
We've talked about the potential of AI,
The good and the bad.
but Odin AI isn't just talking about it.
They're doing something about it
They're actively developing solutions.
to mitigate the risks
Okay.
and maximize the benefits.
And they have this really interesting approach
Yeah.
that focuses on what they call responsible AI.
Responsible AI, it's a great framework.
It acknowledges that AI is a powerful tool,
It is.
but emphasizes that we need to use it ethically,
Transparently.
accountably.
That's responsible AI.
Responsible AI, it definitely has a good ring to it,
It does.
but what does it actually mean in practice? What does it look like in the real world?
Well, it's about making sure that AI is developed and used in a way that, aligns with our values and doesn't accidentally create unintended consequences.
Right.
Odin AI is really focusing on 3 core principles here.
Okay.
Fairness,
Okay.
safety,
Okay.
and human control.
Okay. Let's break those down.
Yeah.
Fairness.
Fairness.
I'm guessing that means making sure that AI systems
Right.
aren't biased
Right.
or discriminatory in any way.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
AI systems learn from huge amounts of data.
Right.
And if that data reflects,
Yeah.
existing biases that we have in our society,
Yeah.
the AI can actually amplify those biases,
Make them worth.
leading to unfair outcomes.
Right.
So Odin AI is working to identify and correct those biases in their systems
Yeah.
to make sure they're fair and equitable for everyone.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And what about safety?
Safety, big one.
There's a lot of talk about AI becoming uncontrollable
Mhm.
or even dangerous.
It's a valid concern for sure.
Yeah.
And it's one that Odin AI takes very seriously.
Okay.
They're focused on developing systems that are robust, reliable, and predictable.
Okay. So we know how they're going to behave.
As much as possible, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're also working on safety mechanisms
Okay.
that make sure that humans always have oversight and control.
So we could step in.
If things go haywire.
Yeah. If the AI starts doing something we don't want it to do.
Exactly.
It's not about blindly trusting AI.
No.
It's about building in safeguards,
Checks and balances.
making sure humans are always in control.
Humans are at the helm.
At the helm. Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the third principle.
Human control.
Human control.
Odin AI believes that AI should always be a tool
Right.
that empowers us, not something that replaces or controls us.
We're in charge.
We're in charge, exactly.
Okay.
So they're designing systems that are transparent
Okay.
and explainable.
We can understand how they work.
so you can understand how they work.
Why they make the decisions they make.
Right, no black boxes.
So it's about backing trust
Trust and transparency.
into these systems.
She can feel confident using them
Right.
and understand the implications of their decisions.
That's crucial.
Yeah, if we want to create an AI-powered future that works for everyone,
Absolutely.
we have to trust these systems.
Right.
And trust is built on transparency, accountability,
Understanding how it all works.
understanding how AI works.
Odin AI seems to be really putting their money where their mouth is
They are.
when it comes to responsible AI development.
They're walking the walk.
But what about the bigger picture?
Yeah, the bigger picture.
What role should governments and policymakers play in shaping the future of AI?
They have a huge responsibility to create an environment where AI can flourish.
Right.
But also protecting workers, addressing the potential risks.
So how do they do that?
Well, it involves investing in education and retraining programs.
To help people adapt.
Adapt to the changing job market, yeah.
Making sure that everyone has the opportunity to develop the skills they need.
To thrive in an AI-driven world, absolutely.
And they also need to
strengthen those social safety nets.
Right. To support those who might be displaced by automation.
Exactly. Think about things like
unemployment benefits. Right. Job training.
Maybe even universal basic income.
Right, like Hinton suggested.
It's all on the table.
Big changes.
And of course, there's the whole issue of developing ethical guidelines and regulations.
Oh, right, for AI development and use.
That's huge.
Making sure that AI is used for good.
Used for good, not for harm.
Doesn't make existing inequalities worse.
Or create new ones.
That's a tall order.
It's a complex challenge for sure, but it's one that we have to tackle together.
We do.
We want to create a future that's both innovative and equitable.
It sounds like we're talking about a fundamental shift in how we think about work, education, social support.
It's a big shift.
It's not just about adapting to AI.
It's about reimagining our society.
To embrace the potential of AI.
Yeah.
While protecting our values.
And making sure everyone benefits.
That's a great way to put it.
It's not just a technological revolution.
Right.
It's a societal one.
A chance to create a better future.
A more prosperous future, a more equitable future.
A more fulfilling future.
Smart everyone.
AI is a catalyst for positive change.
I like that.
It's a much more inspiring vision.
Than all that doom and gloom.
It's a more hopeful way to think about it.
And I think it's more realistic, too. The power is in our hands.
We have the power to shape the future.
We can make AI a force for good.
A tool for progress.
To build a better world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into AI and the future of work,
a big topic,
I want to leave our listeners with a few key takeaways.
Great.
First,
don't fear AI.
Don't fear AI. It's a powerful tool.
But it's a tool we can control.
We can shape it.
We can shape it.
Second, embrace lifelong learning.
Never stop learning.
The skills we need tomorrow
gonna be different.
Might not be the skills we have today.
Be curious. Be adaptable.
Yeah.
Never stop learning.
And finally, remember that the future isn't predetermined.
It's up to us.
We have the power to shape it.
We have the power.
And we can choose to create a future where AI is used to benefit all of humanity.
All of humanity.
Not just a select few.
That's a great place to end it.
It is.
Thanks for guiding us through this.
My pleasure.
Fascinating exploration.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep shaping the future.